Monday, 15th of December, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich. I start out with indexes, go to futures and some stocks. I have been looking for a significant downside turning point in the indexes for, frankly, weeks. Since the October lows, and then a rally with several indexes providing sell signals. Not all of them worked. So far, the E-mini, MES, micro E-mini, has two bearish engulfings on the exact high days, 2 days, October 29th, October 30th. We almost made a higher high last week on December 11th. Couldn't do it, but so close, I'm calling this a double top because the next trading day, Friday, we dropped off and made new lows for approximately 2 weeks and a new low close for 2 weeks, approximately. Yeah, give or take a couple days. In all of the indexes. And we have a little bit more downside follow through, not very much today. The lows were challenged or broken. Some made new lows. Nothing came back super strong or anything like that. So it's just a little resting point on the way down, in my opinion. 15-minute chart on the MES. Not quite having, so to speak, enough time to break into new lows tomorrow, I think. My opinion. Did have a license for decades, don't have one for last 10 years, so just a regular citizen at this point. Next, Spider. Attempted to make a new low. It is a new low close. No new highs, not even close. Basically a down day. I'd love to see it close below the previous trading day's lows, Friday, and today's lows. And I think that could be very soon. 15-minute chart Spider. QQQ, a new low, and it did close below the previous day's low. So we have the Qs you'll see on the NMQ in a moment that are dropping faster and quicker and better. A little bit less, but still coming around south, the spiders. And we'll show you in a moment the Dow and Russell, which are cross between the two. But the Qs are a new low and it closed below Friday's lows. And it did close a gap. Now, because it closed I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that was a very small gap. Maybe not. Nevertheless, I have it marked as a little bit of support. But we're not oversold yet. So I think there's more easily new lows coming ASAP. And the 15-minute chart. I'm trying to produce I'm producing these 15-minute charts to show you the depth of the damage being done to the longer term bull move. The key here is, of course, dropping below lows that were not always, but usually on November 21st. And I do think we have a good chance of doing that. Next, MNQ. Same thing as the QQQ as you would expect. But we have a head and shoulder top outlined at this point. I didn't have anything outlined on the QQQ. It's a little bit worse in terms of the typical shape of head and shoulders, but on the MNQ, I did do it. So with a bearish engulfing ER sell signal on the very high day, October 20th, I think we have a shoulder that was made on October 9th. So that tells you till today, or last couple days, the formation isn't very large time-wise, but it's got a decent depth vertically. So the minimum downside objective is going to be for the MNQ a little bit below 21,500. But we still have a long ways to go. We got to go all the way down to the neckline, which is going to be, give it a few more days, 24, close to 24, a little bit above. In the meantime, there's a variety of support levels to get down to, bounce off of, and break. After that bounce, we'll probably get oversold if we have another couple of down days and be in support. So a little bit of a bounce. Maybe it'll, timing wise, be equivalent to that bounce over here, September 22. That would not be uncommon. Head and shoulder tops and bottoms are pretty symmetrical usually, and that's one of the reasons I don't like this all that much. The first shoulder measures the distance between the head and the first shoulder time wise. Fine, you get a number. But the number comes out substantially earlier than what actually has happened so far. But what happened so far is not too high in price and not too badly late. So the body parts are still there and it's still looking good and it's still acting the right way. Not everything is quite the same. All right. 15-minute chart damage coming down pretty good. YM did make a new historic high, did close a new high ground last week, and it started to falter almost immediately on Friday, 12/12. Today, the 15th, we don't see a higher high. We do see a lower low than Friday, and we do see a close that's basically unchanged, a little bit lower. Nothing particularly bullish about it, a little bit bearish. And all three of the last days, today included, are overbought. So I'm going to call this a slightly lopsided possible double top. I've got to see a little bit more downside work in order to be a little bit more confident about that. Obviously, a close below 47,885 would do the trick for me. Maybe I'm going to get a bearish engulfing ER sell signal in the meantime. Next chart. And it's the YM 15 minutes. It doesn't look all that bad, frankly. Now, the Russell is doing a lot like the YM. It has a new high for quite a long time period, about 3 years, if I remember correctly. And it dropped off a second day in a row after a bearish engulfing Friday. But I'm wondering why I don't get a sell signal here. I think my strategy is not working the way it should. This appears to be, oh no, I'm sorry, the low on Friday was not lower than Thursday's low. Therefore, it's not red, but it's almost very close and coming off a little bit. Yes, possible double top, need more evidence. Bonds. Whoops, I'm sorry, 15 minutes on the Russell. Bonds. A minor bounce. It's a doji, no big deal. I'm still looking for a move down to 112.10. Notes. Came up a little bit, closed under its neckline, which it broke last week. I still like the short side, no ifs, ands, or buts about that, until we start closing, say, above today's high. That would cause me to back off of my bearishness. Okay, new low close like I was expecting in crude oil, coming down to the next support area, 55.80-ish, and then probably lower. New low close on natural gas like I expected, but now it's getting oversold. Maybe it's got another couple of days down to test support. Next, heating oil. Not quite yet hitting support areas, but it is oversold, and it broke out of a top formation, which I now have markers on for the shoulders. That's the first day today. I talked about this yesterday and probably a day or two before that. So we have a weird looking head and shoulder top, but the body parts are still there. I keep saying that. And it broke out and it dropped off sharply on that day and the next day and today. So it's oversold now. Time for a bounce, maybe a little lower. Next, new highs. It attempted to make in gold, didn't quite do it. Last one was Friday. Lower close, well, about unchanged. And it's still overbought. I think this could turn into, I'm sorry to say again, a double top potential. The bearish signal in silver on Friday, an outside down day, bearish engulfing ER sell signal, is being challenged. It has to close. No, it has to touch one tick above Friday's high in order to kill my signal. So far, so good. I didn't expect it to come up this much, but I've seen this happen before and still work fine. We'll see what happens. More highs, platinum, overbought to a greater extent. I have to still keep in the back of my head double top potential. Next, high grade copper, bearish engulfing Friday, didn't break the rules, closed relatively poorly considering the range. I think it also has a high on Friday. Next, soybeans keep coming down. The downside breakout was on December 3rd. We are now almost finished with this head and shoulder top that has worked outstandingly well. Minimum objective, I have been saying for way over a week, maybe a couple of ticks below 1060, 1059.50, it looks like. No point in being ticky about it. So we're almost there. Getting oversold again, classic stuff. Maybe one good down day, reach my objective, still oversold, and then turn around. I wouldn't be surprised. Soybean oil, now oversold, also hitting a support level. Interesting. Huh. Actually, I could make a case for a bullish story on this, but I think it's too soon to tell that. So, bearish, soybean meal. Bullish engulfing on Friday. I said I'm pretty sure I don't want it to work, didn't like the idea, but so far it's working up a little bit. Now, I've said that comment before about bullish or bearish engulfings, and they work great when I didn't think they were going to. I didn't want them to work. We'll see what happens with this one. Again, I wouldn't frankly recommend being a buyer. Next, corn, new low close, still hanging on to a close above a major bull trend line, but this could also be developing or developed, past tense, a head and shoulder top. All we need is the downside breakout, which is going to be a little below 430, and the downside objective is now going to be a little under 410. Wheat, oversold now, but a new low close since late October. No surprise. That's exactly what I talked about. So where are we going to bounce? So I'm thinking, I think I said before, around 510, 50, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That would work for a 20. Next, AARP. AAPL, Apple. Sorry about that. We have a bearish engulfing. Usually that means more weakness, lower levels. We were not overbought, therefore it didn't turn red. But I like what I see. I was talking about it dropping off to close some old gaps, at least around 253, and maybe coming down more to a major support area, 240. Excuse me. This looks like it's on its way down. Overbought now. New high for the move on Tesla. But again, overbought, and it gapped up. This sometimes develops into what we call as an exhaustion gap. New high ground, but gapping up. Usually the result of some kind of a bullish rumor or news that doesn't pan out to be as good as expected. And the market turns around. And it all happens real quick, like within 1-2 days. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's all I got to say. NVIDIA. Doji, up a hair, no big deal. Don't care. Still looking for new lows, lower levels. And AMD. More of a break expected. Looking for a test of support, 194. And the gap, big gap, gets closed at 171-ish. And that gap occurred on a huge up move on October 6th. You guys have a great trading day, which is pretty much over. And profitable trading to you.